Well, I guess I should ask, does anybody have any questions on chapter 6? Okay. All right, so I've got a whole bunch of stuff that's showing up instead of what I want. Where's everything at? There we go. Okay. So with regards to your midterm, let's see. Let me stop sharing this. So your midterm exam on Blackboard, I have put a couple of things. And as soon as I stop sharing, I want to share again. Let's go back. It says it's sharing, but there we go. All right, can you see that whole thing? It looks to me like you're seeing it, but sometimes it's hard to see. Yep. Yep, there you go. Okay, so this is the study guide that I put out there for you guys. It just kind of explains what you're going to see in the midterm. It's approximately 40 to 42 multiple choice questions with 3 to 4 problems that you look like would normally be in Connect. All right, so the only difference is they're not drop down. All right, so instead of dropping down and giving you an option, you have to fill them in. It covers chapters 1 through 6 and 12. I outlined below different points from each chapter that you would want to study. The multiple choice are always going to be 4 answers. I don't do 5, okay? They're always going to be 4 answers. This study guide's not meant to be all-encompassing or anything like that. It's just meant to guide you in your studying. The best bet when you're doing multiple choice is to review your quizzes. I'm going to go out and Connect, and I'm going to put your quizzes back out there. The review quizzes that are in Connect for like the videos, you can still see those, okay? But the quizzes I'm going to put back out there are going to be the ones that were in each chapter and that they disappeared after you took them. They'll be listed at the very top of Connect, and they're going to be called like Chapter 1 Review Quiz, Chapter 2 Review Quiz. You can go out there and take them as many times as you want. But do keep in mind that after so many times, you'll memorize them. Oh, you did? Man, I was doing so good tonight. Okay. So what I was saying was the review quizzes I'll put back out in Connect. They'll be called like Chapter 1 Review Quiz, Chapter 2 Review Quiz. And you can go out there and do them as many times as you want. The answers will show up. They do not count for points. They're meant just so you can go back out and study the quizzes that once you took them, they disappeared. Just keep in mind that once you go out there and do them several times, a lot of times you do memorize them. So keep in mind the difference between memorizing the quiz and knowing what you're studying. Those are really good to study, going out and doing and looking at your homework problems again. There's also demonstration problems in the back of the book. If you bought the ebook, they're in the back of the ebook also. Right? You are given 2 hours to take the exam. The exam will open on Friday morning, and you have until Tuesday night. Now, you are given 1 opportunity and 2 hours to take the test. So even though it's open during that time, the reason it's open that long is people have different work schedules and everything going on in their lives. So if you choose to get the homework done on Friday and take the exam Friday night, then you can do that, okay? So, but if you choose to study and do the homework and work on that all weekend and take the exam Monday, then that's your choice too. So the exam is just an option that I always like to make sure I try to have it, if I can, open over a weekend. Like your final, you don't have that option, unfortunately. But for this, I tried to have it open over a weekend. The only stipulation is your Chapter 6 homework has to be completed before you take the test. It doesn't do you good to take the test and then do your homework. All right? So whenever you decide to do your test, make sure you do Chapter 6 first. All right? Once you start the test, you have to finish it. I know there's a little timer that says save, exit the test. If you exit the test, the timer keeps going. All right? So once you start the test, you have to finish the test. You cannot print the test Like I mentioned before, it is on your honor, so I can't sit there and see what you're doing. But if you try to look up all the answers, pull up your book, Google the questions, you are going to run out of time. So you really do want to make sure you try to study for it. And then as you see, as I scroll through it, I have just the different things that you're going to want to look up. You can see, for example, chapter 12 is very limited. So I kind of tell you what you need to look at for that chapter. And then I go through the rest of them, kind of talking about what different aspects you're going to need to know. If I pull Blackboard back up, oh, I probably shouldn't do that. So if you go under course content, that study guide is listed right here. All right, under study guide, if you click on it, it's right there, so you can find it. The other thing that I'm going to put out here, and it's not out here yet, but I will put it out here, is there is it's not even there yet. I have to put out there is a Kahoot game. If you haven't played Kahoot before, I have a 38 question midterm review Kahoot game. So all you have to do, I'll put the instructions out there. All you have to do is either use it on your computer or download the app on your phone. And it will go through 38 different questions where it's called a challenge. You can make up a name. No one has to know who you are. The only people that can take it is your class. But you'll go through and it will just ask you. It's timed, but some of the questions are 30 seconds. Some of them are 60 seconds. Some of them are very quick. It is hard to answer it. But you can go back in and take it over and over again just to kind of see. I set it up for this midterm. So if you see something in here, there's a really good chance you're going to see something about it on the test. And then I wanted to show you what I meant. This is what I meant by, you can't see them yet because they're hidden. But I'll actually go in here and unhide them right now. This is what I meant by the chapter review quizzes. So when I go to student view for you guys, of course, we'll see if it actually even did it. Probably not. Yeah, it did it. Switch. So when you guys come in here, it's coming, it's turning. There we go. Those are the quizzes. So the ones that say review, you can go back in. They don't count for points. They're the same quiz you already took, but you'll be able to see your answers and you can do them as many times as you want. Remember that also, just as a study tool, if you want to go do the Learn Smart, those are good to study as well. And then when you're in here, your midterm will show up right here underneath chapter 6 quiz. That is where your midterm will show up. So I am trying to think, what other questions? Yes. What do you got?
In another class that I had that had the a timed test through Blackboard, it didn't let you like skip. I wanted to skip a question and come back to it if I had time. It didn't allow that. Does yours allow you to move forward and kind of come back to a question if you wanted to?
Yes.
To move on.
Yes. You can go backwards and forward. And I will double check that because I know that was a problem. That I believe it was in my other class though. But you should be able to go forward and backwards. But I will, before I make sure that's out there, Tiffany, I will go double check that you can, because that's my intent, is that you can go forward and backwards.
Okay.
What other questions do you guys have? And besides the fact that I require you to turn in chapter 6 before you do the midterm, it's one of the heaviest chapters on the test. So I can't encourage you enough to do that chapter's homework and not just say I don't need the points, which is kind of dumb. You guys are all really good for the most part, at least the 6 of you that are on here right now too, about doing your homework. But I cannot stress to you enough about doing the homework for chapter 6. I do that in my face-to-face classes and they still don't do it. The most commonly missed homework assignment is always the one right before the test, and I never can understand that. So I just stress that you do the homework for chapter 6. Okay, the only other thing I can tell you is don't do the exam in a thunderstorm. I don't think we have any of those coming up, but that's not always a good thing to do either. But I looked at the weather and it looks like we got a pretty good stretch of days coming, so that's a good thing.
I got a question.
Yep.
Should we study our past homeworks and pre-videos and stuff like that?
I would go back, besides the quizzes that I put back out there, I would go back, I'd look at your homework, I would see where you got stuck the most, like where was the questions that you got hung up on, and I would look at the video quizzes. Usually you can kind of tell from when you do the quizzes which questions and which chapters you got stuck on the most, where you need to go back on the homework and check it out. But yes, just from a problem standpoint, what problems you might see on the test, chapter 4, 5, and 6 are probably your most likely problems to see. And if you think about that, it's because chapter 4 is when we really got into journal entries with the adjusting entries and the financial statements. And then chapter 5, we had the bank reconciliation. And then chapter 6, but those are always good things. Any other questions?
No, I don't think so.
You're still there, Adam? You've been quiet.
I'm eating dinner.
Yeah, I got brought my dinner too.
Yeah, I didn't want to chew in front of everyone.
Well, we appreciate that. Okay. Well, if you come up with anything, let me know. Otherwise, good luck. Next week, we will be moving right on to chapter 7 and 8, which keep moving on. Chapter 7 is dealing with inventory and how to calculate inventory, and chapter 8 is dealing with bad debt. After you take that test, we're halfway there. So.
I got a question.
Yes.
Does the final cover 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 12?
Yes, it's comprehensive. It covers everything. But here's a way that you want to look at that. I can't figure out why that won't go away. In this class, if you have to be able to do those chapters in order to keep doing everything else. So really the only thing that is covered again that's really not part of everything else that we're still doing is kind of bank reconciliations and some of the questions about, sole proprietorships and maybe fraud and different things like that, because all those things are still done. In the end, we're still doing financial statements, and all those financial statements are still talked about, and how to prepare them is everything that we're doing. In the end, we're preparing financial statements, and everything we're learning is how to do those. So yes, chapters 1 through 13 are on the final.
Gotcha, thank you.
Yep. All right. That's it. Take advantage of our night. It's only one chapter and it's still 8:15. So take it. That was a big chapter. I told you that going into it. So let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, we'll talk to you guys next week. I'll probably send out an email Friday with a little bit more review and let you guys know that the test is out there. All right? All right.
And I'm sorry, that the Kahoot would be loaded by Friday also?
Oh, I'll load that later tonight. And it will be under that that course content area. But I will load it later tonight, and I will also get the rest of these materials up. If I don't get these up tonight, I'll get them up tomorrow, and I'll send out an email when everything is out there.
Okay.
If you have any trouble with the Kahoot, just let me know. Okay? All right.
Sounds good.
Sound good? Have a good night.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye.